Okay, Larry's gonna, are we on? All right. Good evening, everybody. We're going to call the meeting, Exeter Township Board of Supervisors meeting of May 27th, 2025 to order. Please rise for a pledge to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Ms. Kircher.
Here.
Mr. Ham.
Yeah.
Mr. Bell.
Here.
Mr. Pyho.
Here.
Mr. Mohammed is not present.
For everybody's info, Mohammed is on vacation and out of pocket, so he's not calling in. Okay, do we have, next item is agenda amendments. Do we have any proposed amendments?
I'd like to offer a proposed amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I would like to offer the amendment for inviting a member of the library to next meeting with the purpose of discussing potential 25,000 supplemental budget dollars, or 50% of what this year's cut was, to be discussed by the Board of Supervisors with the member of the library present, because I would also like, and in return for that, to have the library host some of our fire public meetings. So on the table would be to offer 50% of the funding cut for this year. Interest earnings have exceeded expectation. In exchange for that, they can deploy it how they see fit, but I would like buy-in that we could use their facility a few times for public meetings on the firehouse. But we would need someone from the library to negotiate that with us here, and it would be an expenditure of funds, so we can't do that today. So hence the way my motion reads.
Well, George, can't we just formally, through Chad, invite the executive director to the next meeting?
I would, so, Mr. Chairman, I would be okay with that. Sometimes when I've made overtures, they haven't hit the agenda, though. So if it, just being serious, I want to
Yeah.
talk about this in this meeting, I mean, in this
Right.
venue. So
Okay.
if Chad is going to run with it, I would accept that. It's in lieu of it.
Chad, could I have you weigh in on this?
Well, so with respect to the motion to amend that's currently on the table, that certainly is de minimis in nature, could be voted on, and action could be taken on that tonight. If the motion to amend passes, then that item would be available for voting and discussion by the board. My suggestion on the actual merits of it would be perhaps I could tag team with Bill, not to drag Bill into this, but I could tag team with Bill to have the library appear and attend and have a friendly conversation.
Okay, but would it be appropriate under administration to,
Sure.
okay, all right. If I did my notes correctly, George, is that the motion, or not the motion, but it would be a motion under administration we would add. Under administration is to invite the executive director of the Exeter Library to the next board meeting to discuss the 25K cut or 50% of that we cut in this year's budget.
Yeah, so I know it's lengthy. Essentially, you have it, although
Yeah.
that was 50, so I'm just inviting 25K.
Short,
as-
okay, shorten that up
for
to
the
just the
half
25,
year.
discuss the 25K. Okay, all
And
right,
If the amendment gets a second, then we could
right,
proceed.
yep,
So my
yep.
motion, gets a second.
Right, it would be added under administration as a motion to invite the executive
And now I need a
director.
second if somebody would like to do that.
Right,
So,
okay?
Thank you.
All right,
Correct. And then prior to voting, we have
We
to
have
allow
a
an
second.
opportunity for
I'll
public
second it.
comment.
all right. Any additional discussion?
And you have to allow an opportunity for public comment since it is a motion,
Oh.
so.
Okay. Well, that's right. We got to have public comments. Is there anybody here tonight that would like to comment on that proposed amendment change where we would invite the executive director of the Exeter Library to discuss the 25K cut? If not, I'll call for the vote. Okay, thank you. All right, then I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor of adding the proposed motion under administration, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, 4-0 vote. And that'll be, yep, you can say. All right, any other proposed amendments? All right, hearing none, we'll move to announcements. The Board of Supervisors, we held an executive session before this one, so we were a couple minutes late. There were 4 items that we discussed. One was litigation regarding an arbitration award. Second was potential litigation regarding the Ole Valley Culvert Project. 3, potential purchase of a property for another culvert project, and a personnel issue. Okay. Moving on, public comments. We have none. Nobody signed in for any public comments. So we will move on to presentation. Police Department Traffic Unit. Chief?
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to do this presentation this evening. As I stated a few meetings ago, we'd like to do a monthly session instead of doing a long annual report. I wanted the guys that run our special units to come up, something they're passionate about, they're very talented, they're great at it, speak about their unit, and just give the township a perspective of what we do. So I asked this evening Sergeant David Benz to come and speak regarding on the traffic unit. Dave has been with the Exeter Township Police Department for over 25 years. He's been with the traffic unit. He can explain to you a very long time. And I call him the Master Yoda of traffic of Berks County. He is the best traffic officer in the county. When it comes to trucks and the knowledge, there's no one as knowledgeable as Dave, and I can honestly say that without even blinking an eye. He's amazing, does a great job, runs the unit well, and this is his night to explain what he does. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Chief, and thanks, Board. Thanks, members of the public. The Chief said passionate. I'm glad he said that because I'm passionate about the Exeter Township Police Department. I'm very passionate about our traffic safety unit. I've been in the traffic safety unit for many years, and one of the things my mother always tells me is I talk too fast in public. So the Chief and I have a signal worked out tonight. He'll give me the signal if I'm talking too fast. I said 5 minutes. He said 20. We'll be somewhere in between. No, but I know the Philly started at 6:45, and I believe Mr. Bell would like to get home as soon as possible, so we'll make that all happen. The traffic safety unit is nothing new to the Exeter Township Police Department. When I came here in 1999, we had a 2-officer traffic unit, and with a few exceptions in all the years that I've been here, we've always had a traffic unit of some sort, whether it was called a traffic unit, traffic safety unit. We always had guys that were dedicated to traffic. Under the Chief's guidance in 2024, the unit went from a 2-man unit to a 4-man unit. And we began to schedule things different and look at numbers differently to make sure that we were scheduling traffic appropriately throughout the township. 2025, we actually are budgeted for 5 officers because the department's shorter than our manning level that we budgeted. We still have only those 4 traffic officers. So we have a sergeant and 3 officers. One of the budgeted positions is not filled. And the members of the traffic safety unit work out of the police department trailer with the detective unit. You heard from Sergeant DiCamillo the other week. I say share that facility, but we commingle quite nicely. And we're both under the direction of the administrative lieutenant, Lieutenant Fullerton. The number one thing, and you'll hear resoundingly through this presentation, the mission, while we say our name is the Traffic Safety Unit, the biggest thing we do is we work hand in hand and symbiotically with the patrol unit to take some of the pressure off of them in these specialized investigations, in these things where our residents want us to be, so that we have the time to dedicate to that, right? So we're reducing the burden on the patrol unit while making the roads of Exeter safer, right? And if I go the right direction, things would be much better. Everybody always gets help from Larry. Thanks.
There?
Yeah,
Just nod your head up.
we'll be good. I can't do that. The chief will tell me I'm talking too fast. Actually, Larry, we're one slide. Yeah, there we go. So the two biggest things Chief Hartley always says he hears the most about is traffic and drugs. And honestly, the traffic safety unit and drugs go hand in hand, just as the patrol unit. But much of our drug enforcement game comes through traffic enforcement, right? When we learn of houses that we might want to target, we'll watch vehicles that leave those houses, find legal reasons to stop them, and develop an investigation through traffic enforcement, right? I believe the more times you drive up and down that thing out there that cuts the middle of this township in half, we call it 422, but it's actually the busiest signaled highway in the county. And the more times you drive up and down there and see red and blue lights flashing, it's all wins for the residents of Exeter. It's telling those people that we don't want in our township to stay out, and that's fine by me, right? The current 4 members of the traffic safety unit, we have some experience in the unit. I've been a police officer for 31 years. We have FTO Dan Hom's been a police officer for 15 years. FTO stands for Field Training Officer. So it's I think, a feather in our hat that Nick Davies been a police officer for 9 years, but he's also an FTO. So the people that the chief and the lieutenants have looked at to train our new officers are guys that are saying, I want to be in that traffic unit. It's special, and I want to be a part of that, and it means a lot to me. And we also, our 4th officer, Officer Andrew Lukash, has been a police officer for 4 years, but 4 years in the police service isn't a whole lot of time, but that kid's knocking out of the park, and he's really, really doing well. I'll throw him props. I'm a numbers guy. He wrote the most citations in the department last year. He did a phenomenal job. While you'll hear me talk a lot about the traffic safety unit tonight, rest assured the patrol unit is our primary means of protecting motorists in this township and enforcing traffic laws. We work hand in hand together. We work very symbiotically. The traffic unit starts every shift with the patrol unit, so we know what's going on in the township. And at the end of every roll call, we have a little bit of throw in, what are the guys in traffic doing today? Some days, they're busy catching up on reports. Other days, hey, we're gonna go run speed here. Do you have a guy or two you can send to help us? Great stuff. Larry will nod for you, right? There's some specialized training in the traffic unit. All of the traffic safety unit officers are waymasters. We know we have a scale back here that we use quite regularly. All 4 of us are certified to weigh trucks. Again, in patrol, there are officers who are waymasters and weigh trucks on that scale. It's something that we're very proud of and we're very passionate about. We'll talk about commercial motor vehicle enforcement in a little bit. We have 2 crash reconstructionists, 240 hours of training with annual updates. Those are the guys that when we have serious crashes, we bring them out. They have that specialized training to prosecute those most serious crashes. When we go to court, a lot of math. I hated algebra. They still do algebra, and they still do calculus. Great for them. That's why we have 2 of the younger guys doing that. But we also have 3 officers assigned to the Berks County DA's Crash Reconstruction Task Force. And you might say, well, if we have 2 of our own reconstructionists, why do we need to be on the Crash Reconstruction Task Force? 2 reasons for that. A, it gets our guys some experience at away games, in serious crashes and away games, lets them build their curriculum vitae, if you will, make them better reconstructionists. But B, in the event that our reconstructionists aren't available, we can rely on the experience of the Crash Reconstruction Task Force to come in, collect the evidence for us, turn it over to our guys so we can make a proper prosecution or document the crash appropriately. We have 3 motor carrier safety assistance programs. We call that MIXAP. The chief will talk about one of our truck inspection details maybe later tonight in his report, I believe. But we have 3 level 1 MIXAP inspectors on staff. I didn't put the number of hours of training in there, but that's a 3-week training course. And when you complete that course, you have to do 40 mentored inspections. So before you're allowed to go out on your own, you have to complete 40 inspections. It's pretty intense training. People ask me, I'm a MIXAP inspector, and people ask me, why do I enjoy doing trucks? And it's not going to burglar alarms, it's not going to domestics, it's not handling fraud reports. It's just a change of pace for me, and challenging to stay on top of it. So, but more importantly, we'll talk about this in a minute, it keeps that highway safe. You can see how many trucks are out there. There are some great carriers out there. There are some owner-operators out there that put a lot of time and money into making sure their stuff is up to snuff and ready to roll and safe, and there are a lot that are cutting corners, right? Our job is to even that playing field and make sure they're all good, right? 2 child safety seat technicians. Earlier in my career, when we'd hold a car seat event, they'd be lined up around the corners. Car seats, in essence, have gotten easier to put into cars, but parents still put them in wrong or incorrectly, or some parents don't use them at all. We keep the child safety technicians on staff for when we get those unfortunate situations when kids are in crashes. We want to ensure that they were buckled in correctly, that the devices they were using were appropriate for their height, age, and weight. And we make sure that our crashes involving kids are being protected, right? 3 forensic mapping technicians. A few years ago in COVID, we bought some very expensive equipment to map crime scenes and crash scenes. And 3 of the officers trained to do that are on the traffic safety unit. You can imagine, well, we all experience it. When that highway closes, we live and work here in Exeter, right? And when we close that highway, it makes a mess. The sooner we can get the highway open again, the better off we are, and everybody's happy, right? And we're making less crashes in that backlog, right? So the forensic mapping stuff sped that process up a whole bunch. We also have 2 of the drone pilots are traffic safety guys. And you ask, why do you need drone pilots in the traffic unit? And the biggest thing is, when we have a crash, we fly the drone. Digital imagery from the drone has come a long way, and we can actually get certified measurements from drone imagery, especially in those further out pictures. So when somebody says, how far away was the 45-mile-an-hour sign, we can tell you exactly because the drone flew the whole scene, right? And all those efforts get the roadway open quicker. The mission of the traffic safety unit is absolutely to reduce the burden on the patrol unit, right? Residents primarily, one of their primary complaints is about traffic, right? We'll talk about their speeding in my development in one of the last slides that we talk about. But the traffic safety unit investigates, addresses those complaints, and keeps patrol units available so they can be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Clearly, when we're working, we're the first line of defense against the crash. So if there's a crash, we're out there handling that. Our friends, the fire police, come out and relieve a whole bunch of cops to keep cops on the street. That's awesome. We also, our primary goals, we talk about speeding in the township, stop sign violations, parking issues, reckless drivers, school bus violations. The list goes on and on and on. Many of our school buses in Exeter are equipped with cameras. When somebody goes through those red flashing lights, those investigations come to us and we follow up on them. We investigate and process abandoned vehicle complaints. It takes a substantial investment in time, but we do them correctly. Mostly because the state issues a title to every car. So there's a titled owner for every car. And if you abandon that vehicle for somebody else to buy it, we have to get that title out of your name so somebody else can buy it. And that's a process that we have to do. And the traffic safety unit certainly increases staffing during the busiest times of the day. We know we're busiest day shift, and by putting those extra traffic units on, we're freeing up the patrol guys at their busiest part of the day. We address safety concerns. We're very data-driven, so we'll utilize all those crash reports that come in to see where people are crashing, figure out why they're crashing there, and if we need enforcement, we'll do that, right? Jason, Mr. Hunter often calls us about block signs and sight distance issues at intersections. We work hand in hand with codes on that. We manage residential handicap parking applications. If somebody needs a handicap parking application, those aren't lifetime things. We make them reapply every 2 years, and the traffic unit takes care of that. And we take on complex investigations. We talk about serious crashes and fatal crashes. We have those crash reconstructionists so that we're putting those assets where they need to be. We are currently in the Memorial Day Click It or Ticket wave. This morning we had officers out on overtime, funded overtime through the Highway Safety Network. They wrote 50 citations just this morning on the bypass. I think everyone in Berks County understands where we run speed, yet every day we can go out there and write ticket after ticket after ticket. Right now there's officers out there, or they may start at 7:30, but they're doing another wave of Click It or Ticket, and they'll probably be on the bypass just because it's our people coming into this township run that 422 at a lot more than 55 probably. When they get into our 40-mile-an-hour traffic lights from here down to Shelbourne, it makes crashes. And by being at the end of the bypass, we believe we're eliminating some of those crashes, right? We also do aggressive driving waves, pedestrian enforcement waves. We had a DUI checkpoint on Friday night in the township. We very often have officers out specifically looking for DUIs and doing DUI roving patrols. Many commercial enforcement details. We do move over details where we put the tow truck out on the road, make sure people are moving over, and we do child passenger safety seat checks. The increased enforcement in Exeter's is making a difference. We heard Chief Harley we hear him talk about numbers of citations month after month after month. We know that we write more citations than many of our cohorts around us, and we believe that's making a difference. In 2024, when we looked at the total number of crashes, we were not surprised because we know how busy we are and we hear our numbers. We have the same amount of crashes, but we reduced the serious crashes by 14%. We attribute that to our aggressive enforcement efforts, right? So those reportable crashes, once where someone was hurt or someone has to be towed, we reduced those crashes by 14%. I kind of look at that as if you go out 222 through the roundabouts. Northern Berks Regional Police and Fleetwood Police talk about, well, with the roundabouts, they have about the same amount of crashes, but they're way less severe because we're not encroaching on each other in the same, we're hitting each other side to side. Same thing in Exeter. We don't have roundabouts, but we do have enforcement, right? And we have a pretty tough stance on commercial motor vehicles, right? We know in talking to drivers, there are many drivers that avoid Exeter because of our stance. That's okay with me. It's hard to get those 80,000-pound trucks to stop at our traffic lights, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to slide right through them and hit somebody. So if I push you off to somewhere else so that our residents and our families are safe, that's a win for us. In 2024, we had a fatal crash. After a lengthy investigation, the district attorney approved homicide by vehicle charges on that crash last week. That was a commercial motor vehicle where the driver just wasn't paying attention and killed an innocent woman who was at a red light, right? We rely on good commercial motor vehicle drivers to keep us safe, right? And we talked about evening the playing field. That's what our commercial motor vehicle game is, trying to even the playing field, find those guys that are cutting corners and prosecute them appropriately. And the chief is very proud to point out, and so am I, that we have the only certified truck to permanent scale in the ground back here to Axelway in the Commonwealth. There are others that are interested and very interested coming to see what we have. But right now, we're the only game in town, makes our numbers great. All right. This is the one that I probably get a phone call a day about, but they're speeding in my development, and we understand that, right? You're in your development 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our police cars aren't. We'd love to be. We just don't have enough, right? Tell us what you're seeing. It's important to give us the time of day when you're seeing an issue. And we have a traffic complaint form at exeterpolice.com. We ask you to fill that out, send it to us. Magically, we'll get somebody assigned. And then we have a three-phase approach to what we do when somebody complains about speed in their development, right? Our number one friend are those speed boards that you see out there. 2 of them are permanently installed, one on Dunham Drive, because we want to keep the kids going, or the people going to the schools safe. And Pennsylvania Avenue, we know, is a constant speed problem because it's just designed so wide. You can really get up to speed quickly there. Probably you, like I, have been driving on those roads and seen that sign flash at you and say, hey, slow down. It's a good reminder because there's good people that just forget, right? We get busy in our driving world. But when people tell us that they're speeding in my development, we take a 3-phase approach. The first phase is information. So we have 2 pairs, 4 speed boards that we'll put out. We'll put them out blank first for a week, and we'll study data, trying to find times a day when people are speeding on the street, right? And we'll look at that data to determine when it's best to make some enforcement. If we see that there's a problem, we'll turn those speed limit signs on so that they give those people an idea that, hey, I really am going too fast on this street. I need to pay attention. We'll do that for about another week. And then if we're still seeing a problem, we'll assign officers and we'll do some enforcement. And that's a numbers-driven operation. We look at the 85th percentile. So that doesn't make sense to people. It's hard to explain to folks. But basically, if 15% of the cars are going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, that's when we assign enforcement. That frustrates the heck out of many residents because they see what they believe to be people speeding a lot. The state law doesn't allow us to pull people over in a 25-mile-an-hour zone until they're doing 35, right? So we use that 85th percentile at 35 miles an hour before we'll schedule any enforcement because we don't want to send officers out there. We know there are streets where we do need to be doing enforcement. We don't want to send them to streets where we're not going to be productive, right? We also then use that data to assign officers at the peak times, and we would love to have radar as a municipal police officer in Pennsylvania. You've heard that before. As a young 21-year-old cop, municipal cops didn't have radar in Pennsylvania, the only state where we don't have radar. Radar isn't the be-all, end-all, but it would be a tool in the toolbox if we could ever get it. It would be really nice to just be able to run out to a development, hold that gun up, not gun, but the radar device up, get some speed data, issues tickets appropriately, and then move on to the next one. We can do that with our equipment. It's just labor and manpower intensive. We have to put some sensors out in the road or have lines paid and those kind of things, right? The other thing that I hear other than they're speeding in my development is you could make a fortune on my street. And I think it's important the residents understand the township gets half the fine. So many years ago, 31 years ago, when I became a cop, most fines were $25. 2025, fines are still $25, right? And the township gets a whopping $12.50 out of every stop sign ticket that somebody's found guilty of. So it really doesn't pay the township to do traffic enforcement, but props to this township because they have officers assigned to it. We're out there to make our roads safer, right? And then kind of in follow-up, we certainly know that we have a reputation and we like to live up to it. I appreciate the Hot Dog Society's post for us. 3 things true in life: death, taxes, and Exeter speed traps. We like to remind people they're not traps. We let you go as fast as you want to go. We're just going to stop you when you get to us. And sadly, it's not unusual for us to write citations for people exceeding 100 miles an hour in Exeter, right? It's kind of crazy, but it's what we do, right? And then our last slide, speed in developments is important to the Exeter Police. I know people get frustrated with they don't see us when they perceive a speed problem. And I talk about that 85th percentile and data-driven approaches to enforcement, right? But it's so important that we even put it on the traffic safety unit patch. It's a reminder every day we put a uniform on. The cars assigned to the traffic safety unit have that emblem on there. And Navy Salate Osadas took us a little bit to get the right translation. We wanted to use speed kills. Our friends from the Navy stole that for missiles, so we didn't think that was important or appropriate for us to use speed kills. So our Latin translation is actually don't kill with speed. And the final thing that I have for you, I kind of end every presentation I do with it, is I'm a firm believer, wear your seatbelt as though your life depends on it, because it truly does. I used to be able to say I never unbuckled a dead person. Unfortunately, that's not true anymore, but I've seen many, many people unbuckled in fatal crashes. Good deal? Thanks, Chief. Certainly
job.
appreciate the opportunity.
Just one thing I'd like to add, and this isn't, Sergeant Bentz's place for when it comes to budgeting, but one of the things that we have done with the traffic unit is we've scheduled the traffic unit to be heavy on Tuesdays. And the reason why we do that is because we schedule all our training days for our officers that are working on Tuesdays, and that's the day the traffic unit will completely take over the street and handle all calls. We also strategically have set them in place so we have extra patrols, because 65 and 70% of all of our calls are day shift. So they're strategically placed on those times so they can handle extra calls when we're busy. When I first became a chief, we were averaging 140,000 in overtime for cover shifts. We had 1 cover shift this year. Traffic unit is there for every shift on Tuesdays. Traffic extra days when people call off sick. When we need them on day shifts, they will cover the street and handle as a patrol. They do an excellent job. They don't complain about it. They step in. They do amazing partnership with the patrol unit. And they work hand in hand, and they do a great job. I'm very proud of them, and you did an excellent job tonight. So thank you very much, Sergeant Benz.
I appreciate it. Be advised, we're out there on Tuesdays a lot.
Sergeant Benz, quick question. I headed to a job site early this morning, and I saw the traffic unit out there in 422, and you had it up on the screen. I hate to ask, but did you get DUIs early this morning?
We did have a DUI today.
Oh, my goodness.
It's unfortunate, but look, I shouldn't say we're supposed to be out there writing speeding tickets, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for speed, and then from speed, we look to see if you're wearing your seatbelt. And I schedule guys appropriately to try and find that, and then when we take somebody off of that detail to do a DUI, it plays with our, but it's become more commonplace than not. And in those early morning details, we're still finding people who are over those limits.
Wow.
And on a less important topic, it's 1-0 Phillies right
No, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Chief.
Board, for allowing us to
Thank you.
give the presentation this evening.
now. Nice job.
May I add one thing, just that they don't, with Exeter? Years ago, there was a mother who came to me from Laurel Springs, and she said, I don't understand why the buses aren't stopping when they're picking up the kids. So I talked to Lieutenant Hartenstein at the time, and here it was not a law in Pennsylvania that in any private community, cars do not have to stop for school buses. So Exeter Township was the reason they now have that into law. So I'd just like to pass that on.
Oh, okay.
I've been here long enough to know Donnie Hartenstein.
I've been here a long time.
Any other questions or comments for the sergeant? No? Okay, moving on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, very informative. Next item on the agenda is consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda of the minutes, May 12, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting, disbursements, May 27, 2025, and the treasurer's report, April 2025? Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, George seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Nope. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0 vote. Zoning planning, are you handling it, Bill?
I can do that.
Okay,
There's a building project at Exeter Self-Storage in front of Shelbourne Square. And as part of that, they escrowed $761,573.21. This is the first release of some of the escrow due to the work that has been completed. So it's a relatively small amount. That totals $11,802.20. So we're asking you to ratify the approval of that release.
okay, and that it, Bill?
That's it?
Okay.
Unless you want more detail?
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is for everybody's information, the initial escrow amount is $761,573.21. So this is a very small amount, and it's spelled out. So do I have a motion to ratify the approval of the escrow release number 1 for Exeter Self-Storage in the amount of $11,802.20?
I'll move that we ratify the approval of escrow release number 1 for Exeter Self-Storage in the amount of $11,802.20.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Michelle? Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to ratify approval of the escrow release number 1 for Exeter Self-Storage in the amount of $11,802.20, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? 4-0 vote. Bill, administration, let's do the library first. Okay, and I'll rephrase it.
I can just-
You want to do it, George?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I would just like to move that we invite the executive director or a designee of her choosing to the Board of Supervisors meeting next meeting in order to discuss possible $25,000 budgeting supplement for 2025. And in exchange, I would also like to ask her if we could, unrelated to this, but while we have her, if we could have three of our fire department roundtables with the town halls with our residents at the library in exchange for the supplemental funding. So that's what I'd like to make a motion
Okay,
to achieve.
all right. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Additional discussion?
So the only additional discussion I have, because it's an expenditure, that's why I'm asking we do it next meeting. You may recall earlier in the year when my verbiage on the library funding was that the budget's very tight, it's still very tight, but that if a certain amount of interest came in, we could look at it as a board to see if we could restore part of the funding. Mr. Mascaro picked up some of the funding, and all I'm simply saying is, without promising what next year looks like, I feel we could potentially, as a board, agree to the other half restored for 2025, making them full 2024 level funding. We'll have to see what 26 brings. However, selfishly, I also know we need a nice venue to host the public information meetings on the firehouse, and I'd like to have some of them done at the library. Hence the reason why, A, I'm asking them to come in so they can agree to that, but B, there's no covenant on the money. It's just how they would normally budget it. I
Right.
can't tell you how many people talk to us at the library on election day, and I saw the kids coming in. I know it's highly utilized, and I just think it would be a nice thing. The board will have to decide in the meeting how much money and if we want to do it. But this is
Right.
my my comments on why I'm asking for this, okay?
Right. The only comment I'll add to that, George, is we're asking for the next meeting, which is June 9th. If the executive director is not available, would you be willing to modify your motion that if she's not available the 9th, that we go for the 23rd?
I mean, I could do that. In the motion, I asked if a designee could come, though. Like,
Yeah.
she could designate someone else, is what I'm saying.
Right. Well, from my perspective, I'd rather have the executive director. Let's have the head honcho come, my opinion.
You would need the board president,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay.
So, also the
You
board
want
president.
to do it or designate, designee? Executive
I would be
director
okay with-
or the designee?
I would think I would be okay with that.
Okay,
Yes, I'd be okay with it if it
Okay.
carries the way it stands.
okay, all right, okay. I just thought I'd ask because we don't know what her schedule is.
No, I get it. I talked to some other members of the board. I think somebody will show up.
Yeah, I think so. I think there'll be more than one here.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, okay. Any additional discussion? And you're okay with the amendment or designee? You had
Oh,
seconded?
definitely.
Okay,
Yeah, they should have someone from the board here, too.
okay. All right, and I'll call the vote. Basically, for the motion to approve the executive director or designee to come to the next Board of Supervisor meeting to discuss the 25,000 cut and also holding meetings on the firehouse at the library.
The only thing I would say is it's more of, we're not further.
Tina will pull it off
Yeah.
to get your
We're
wording.
potentially restoring the cut, that's what I'm saying.
Right, restoring the cuts, correct,
Restoring is the key word in this. part of
correct,
the
correct.
Motion.
Okay. Any additional discussion?
No, thank you.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0 vote, okay. All right, Bill, back to you.
Yes, sir, I'm requesting a motion to ratify payment of our insurance premium in the amount of $54,960.20. This would go to one of our carriers, Paragon Insurance Holdings, and it is for annual casualty, property, including vehicles insurance.
Is that a quarterly payment, Bill, or
I thought it was an annual payment.
annual?
Quarterly? It's quarterly.
Quarterly, I thought it was quarterly. Okay. All right, do I have a motion to ratify the payment of the insurance premium in the amount of $54,960.20?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Michelle, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, George. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0 vote. Bill?
We're also looking for a motion to authorize the purchase of Collin Court. And like we had earlier this year with another roadway, part of this roadway is actually owned by a private citizen. So it's incumbent upon the township to acquire it. So we're asking the board to authorize this purchase, which will be negotiated with the current owner.
If I remember right, wasn't this a little chunk of land kind of in nowhere?
Yeah, this is part of a much, if I may, Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Vice Chairman, this was part of a much larger parcel, and this particular roadway slipped out of the legal description from a larger parcel. The owner of the roadway has agreed to have the township purchase it for $1,000. So it is necessary. It is also the last privately owned roadway that we know of here in the township that we need to get back to township ownership here. And so what will happen is, if the board approves this, the township will formally record a deed, take ownership of the parcel. We'll be in contact with mapping to have the parcel be eliminated so that this never happens again. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion authorizing the purchase of Colleen Court?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, it was, as I understand it, from the sum of $1,000, Bill, right? Okay. I'm not sure why we didn't put that in there, but Michelle, do I have a second? I'll go ahead and make the second, do the second on this one. Any additional discussion?
I have none.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion authorizing the purchase of Colleen Court, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4-0 vote. Bill?
Finally, I'd like a motion to authorize advertisements for bids of waste disposal services. And this is for township property, including parks, library, Dunn Center. Currently, we're serviced by Republic. The current contract expires on September 30th. It's currently a 3-year contract with 1 year additional that we extended. And we are looking for a 3-year contract once again, but with the option for 2 1-year options to extend.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to authorize advertisement for bids of waste disposal services? I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Clarence.
Oh, you did. Okay, no. Any additional discussion?
I have none.
Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the motion to authorize advertisement for bids of the waste disposal services, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0 vote. Okay. Chief, you're up.
I have a few reports to go over for the last 2 weeks since the last meeting.
Do you want to go to solicitor first, or you want to go to chief first?
Jumped.
Wait a minute, hang on.
Do you want to go to solicitor first, or do you want to go to chief first? So we have the solicitors next.
Then public.
Chad, you can go
Public
ahead.
Works.
You can go ahead.
I'll roll. Mr. Chair, Vice Chairman, yeah.
Yeah.
If I may.
Sorry, Chief.
It's okay. I can wait.
I don't have much to report tonight. I do have a update on the ongoing right-to-know litigation in the Commonwealth Court that continues. This is the one that the Open Records Office dismissed without us doing anything. The Court of Common Pleas dismissed without us doing anything, and now the requester appealed this up to the Commonwealth Court. We filed an application to dismiss it once again, this time around because he is not appealing a final order as defined by the rules of appellate procedure. Not to get too far in the weeds. The requester has now filed a response and a motion for sanctions, arguing that our applications to quash is frivolous. So we are going to be responding to that, and we are hopeful that the Commonwealth Court will act quickly to stop this craziness. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Chad?
I have none.
None? Okay. Larry?
Yes, I just had something come in this afternoon that from Chad Schlangler, the Chief of Staff for the representative of Jacqueline Rusnick, and Spencer from Senator Schwenk's office would like to meet this Thursday at 1 PM at the Antietam Admin Building to look at the Antietam stream with the flooding issues that we had in the past 2 years. So I just want to make you aware of that. I can update you on, after that meeting, of what we discuss and what we look at. But it's basically the Antietam stream, not the lake nearby. Just to, like I said, to discuss flooding that we've been having for the past 2 years. Again, we did participate in the Memorial Day Parade yesterday. It seemed pretty good. We had tons of candy to pass out for the children, and it was pretty neat to see everybody out to support the veterans, or the people that died for us, I should say. So that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Larry?
I have none.
Okay, none? Now, Chief.
Thank you, Chairman. Just want to go over for the April police report for the month. Some of the main calls is, one of the things we do, we have a lot of thefts in Exeter. We had 29, 2 burglary calls, 4 assaults, 2 motor vehicle thefts, 14 frauds. We had 3 vandalisms, 2 public drunkenness, 6 sex offenses, 8 drug arrests, 2 DUIs. We had a total of 62 arrests for the month, 58 adults, 4 juveniles. The total calls of service was 2,452. That's 81 calls per day. We were down a little bit from last month. We wrote 573 citations. That's an average of 19 a day. We had 223 warnings for the month. We had 40 crash reports and 3 no reports for crashes. One of the things that we're significantly down in this year's accidents. We were averaging 60 to 80 crashes last year a month. Last 2 months, we've been at 40 and 33. So our crashes have been significantly down, and that's we've even had some bad weather and some rainstorms. So that's really positive. Our DJ fine money that we brought in last month was $22,676. And one of the things that I looked at this year, in the first 4 months of the year, we brought in $77,000 in fine money. We had another $18,000 in reimbursable overtime money. That averages, it's $95,000 this year. Our total overtime budget is $108,000. So that's only $13,000 if you look at between the fine money and the cost of reimbursement. That's significantly lower than we're bringing the overtime budget significantly down. So it's something I'm really proud of, and we've been, as I said, every day, every week, constantly looking at our budget and trying to keep the costs down, and we are. So it's something that I'm looking at, and it's really positive for the police department. On Friday evening, we did something different this year that we normally don't do. We did a roving DUI checkpoint. So what we did was, as Exeter, we combined with Eastern Berks Regional Police Department, and we started in Eastern Berks Regional. So the checkpoint at Eastern Berks started at 21:30 hours. That's 9:30, and went to 11:30. And from that 2-hour period, there were 652 cars stopped on Route 100. That's a lot. It was busy. It's 7 DUIs and 6 drug arrests in a 2-hour period. Packed it up, brought it into Exeter at 10 after midnight. We started. We went to 2 o'clock in the morning. There was 220 cars we had contact with. Out of 220 cars, we had 5 DUI arrests. Another 4 cars that were close, where they were not enough to arrest them for DUI, but we had to get them rides. So we got them off the streets. That's 9 there. We had 3 drug arrests and 2 other cars that were impounded for possible drug seizures. We did search warrants the next day, and we did find drugs in the car. So we were very successful. It's very productive. Our guys are very talented. They're good at spotting those cars and seeing it, and it was very, something that we did very well. On the May 15th, we conducted a truck detail. We only did the westbound direction. It was from 7 in the morning till noon on that day. That day, we did 47 total truck inspections. There were 73 violations out of the truck we inspected. 10 of those trucks were placed out of service because they were not safe to be on the roadways. 6 of those drivers were placed out of service because they weren't compliant of the rules and regulations of the Commonwealth. And we wrote 46 citations on the inspections. For the weigh, this is something we increased majorly. We weighed 16 trucks that day. 4 were overweight. We wrote 5 overweight citations and 34 other citations for the weights. So it was a total adding up 46 and 34 is, we wrote close to 80 citations that day. The total fine amount was almost at $20,000, just under $19,667. Total of 90 citations. So these guys work hard, they're good at it, they're talented, they have the training. I can tell you one of the things that Sergeant Bentz talked about is how we take truck enforcement so serious. One of the things, you turn on the news or you look in the paper, it's constantly, you look at 78 serious truck accident. I used to be proud saying we haven't had a fatal since I've been here with a truck accident until last year. Unfortunately, we had one. We did the investigation, 11 months later. Now we're filing charges for homicide by vehicle because we inspected that truck correctly. We reconstructed the crash correctly. We put it in all our digital evidence. There were a 3D imager to be able to come up with that case, and the DA's office proceeded forward. And that's what we're looking for. We hold people accountable. The trucks that come through here and the amount of crashes we have are very slim. And I think this truck enforcement is to credit to that. In 2023, little old Exeter Township wrote more truck inspection violations than any police department in the state of Pennsylvania. I think we were either second or third in 2024. That's pretty impressive. That's counting major departments, Philly, Pittsburgh, these other big city police departments. We wrote more tickets than them and did more inspections. That's something, with 422, you say, is it really necessary, Chief? Well, we have 1.6 million cars that travel through Exeter just on 422 alone in a month. That's a lot of cars. It's a lot of trucks, a lot of vehicles. And for us to be out there to keep the crashes down, to keep these trucks in compliance, to keep the people in compliance, we're doing our job, and we're very successful lately, and something I think you should know. So that's what I have. I really enjoyed that Bence's presentation tonight. I like the fact that I have someone instead of me up here every other Monday, and I know today's Tuesday, speaking about the department and what we do. I think it's really important that you hear from other officers in the department, especially now having the department guys that run their units speaking. I'm also going to have some patrolmen come up and speak in the future about the department, some of the things they experience. So it's just not coming from supervisors or the brass, it's coming from officers that are also working the street. So in the future, you're going to be seeing some other, some of the patrolmen also coming up here, even the younger guys and their experiences. So I look forward to seeing that in the next few, this year coming up. That's all I have.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the chief?
I have none.
Okay, hearing none. Manager's report. Bill?
Thank you, sir. I have a few things tonight. First one is the deadline to receive requests for our request for proposals was Friday. And we received 14 responses to the RFP for the architectural and design work for the new fire station. And those are currently being evaluated initially by Boyle Construction Management. We received a donation for the library by the Francesco A. Mascaro Charitable Trust for $20,000. And that's the second of 3 installments that they plan to make. It's good news. On May 22nd, we held our first Meet the Staff event, which took place in the library. It went well. I think the rain limited the number of participants, but those that were there were very impressed by the presentations of our department directors and managers, including the police department, the fire department, and the library. So I think the public that did attend learned a lot. And on social media, there have been some write-ups about what happened there in detail. So I think we reached a lot more citizens by that venue. Also, the lease agreement we have with Penn State Health for Lifeline automatically renewed for the lease for the building, our building that they use for the headquarters for Lifeline. So that renews every year unless one of us moves forward to terminate the lease. So that's what I have for you tonight.
Very good. Any questions for Bill? Okay. Hearing none, supervisors report. Clarence, I'll start with you.
I have nothing.
Nothing? Michelle?
I have several things. First of all, I would like to thank, as the chief, as our manager just did, about the fact that we had a really nice turnout at the library. I think we would have a better turnout if we had some way to communicate with more people. And George is going to bring that up, so Jack's going to bring that up. I'm going to let you do that one. But we were talking about this idea for a while. It was a great turnout. Our staff supplied so much wonderful information to everyone that was there that we hope to put it up and have it out for everyone concerning the actual cost of what we're paying in the township for township services and all the other work they do. It was very, very informative, and I'm so happy that that was done. Oh, boy, what else did I have? I want to thank the fire company for an absolutely wonderful parade. Those kids enjoyed it so much. I've never seen kids as excited as I've seen this time. And then back at the fire station, the camaraderie that everyone has together is great. And I'm looking forward to doing a lot more with them. And I think that's it for
That's it?
for now.
Okay, for now,
For now.
okay. George?
Thank you. Two items additional for me. Had the opportunity to talk to a lot of residents the last week or so, and one in particular highlighted the need over at the Exeter area food pantry, so I told her I would discuss this evening. It's a situation where the food on the shelves is critical low, and people have to be turned away without getting too much. So it's just an indictment of where some people are economically right now. So those of us that can help, we would like to try to help. So the key need ingredients were peanut butter, tuna, and breakfast bars, I think she mentioned most notably. And the drop-off spot, is it Lorraine? Sherry, may I, is it Lorraine School? Where's the best drop-off? Yeah, where's the best spot to drop it off? The breakfast hut, on what day? Any day? Any day. Breakfast out of the library.
It's also here at the building.
Also here? I was hoping to say, so I started to say here, but then someone said not here. So it could be here? Let's clean this up a little bit. Here, breakfast hut, or the library. And the key need, thank you, folks, and the key needs were peanut butter, tuna, and breakfast bars, although I'm sure they would take any kind of canned items and baby items and all those things. But if we could concentrate on those couple things, I think it would go a long way. And I know the Exeter area food pantry is our immediate residents, helping harvest. I think they feed, they're like the feeder charity, if you will. That's still Berks and Schuylkill, so it's still, quote, our people.
Right.
But I think if you wanted to make the most immediate, direct impact, it's the Exeter area food pantry. And then lastly, if you donate through work, anybody that works, sometimes the Exeter area food pantry is actually too small for the automated charity donations to do through your payroll and things, that's where Helping Harvest comes in, because Helping Harvest, you can donate through your payroll too. So either way, it's gonna help our people. So I wanted to highlight that as something that is really needed right now. I mean, it's, there's people hungry in our community right now, and some of them are kids. Second thing, I had mentioned this once before, but I don't think I followed up with anybody, so I'm just gonna mention it again while I have the microphone. I know, we're gonna probably be speaking, we routinely speak about the police and what the great things they're doing. I do know, the fire company will probably be an active second half of the year topic as we're trying to work on a fire station. So I still think it would be nice if the other board members agree. I know Chief Jordan's here almost every week, but if either he or a designee for even just the second half of this year, there's a couple spots at the table. I would love every other week, even if it's the week that the engineering firm is in here. So like this week, if he could sit up here, I think he would actually give the profile to this project, the same type of profile that Chief Hartley gets for the police highlighting his people. I think it would go a long way, because we're gonna need to get community understanding and buy-in to this project. Even though we're doing what we can do to keep the cost down, it won't be successful if people don't understand the need. So I would love to welcome him every other week, if the other board members agree. But those are the two items I wish to feature this evening. Thank you for the time.
Yep. I'll add one thing to the food pantry, Sherry, is, George, I appreciate calling out the specific food, but the local Exeter food pantry, they always can use cash, a check. Check is good, because then they can go buy what they need on the open market. So, but yeah, I agree. I've heard the same thing, that unfortunately donations are way down. Yeah, and the need, right, and the need is up, unfortunately. As I understand, it's over 300, it was over 300 families. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, it's never been that high. Yeah, so, yeah, good item, George. Good item, very, very important. For me, a couple of quick things. First off, Michelle kind of alluded to it. I already had wrote it down on mine, is I would love to see a nice neon sign along 422 as you come into Exeter, advertising like the Meet the Staff event or other events.
Fireman's meeting.
And we've talked about it before, previous boards have talked about it, and I would like us to consider it again and look at it. So I'm looking at Bill to make a note about it, and Larry. I know there's a cost, maybe we can rent or something, but, buried under Public Works maybe. I'll let the two of you look at that, but that was something I heard Thursday night when I was there, that, it was only on social media.
Yeah.
And not everybody looks at social media. The event was great. I admit, Glenn and I both went to it, but we wound up spending most of our time out with the fire trucks. And Glenna got a very detailed tour of each of the trucks that were there and the supplies, which brought back a lot of memories for her. And I had a chance to talk, and the Chief Jordan has already left, but I had a chance to talk to some of his staff, and it was really good. It was very interesting to talk to the actual firemen and fire ladies. Let's see, I had, the finance brochure, for those of you who didn't, I'll hold it up for the camera and all. The finance department, I thought, put together a great little brochure of what they do and what they do for the township. And they had breakdown on taxes and everything at the meet and greet. I thought it was really very informative. I don't know if any of the blogs picked up on it and did any posts or not, but I hope they did, because I thought this was excellent, Bill. It was very good, and I did tell Christina and Sarah there that I thought it was. But that's it for me. And public comments, we have none on non-agenda items, but I'll ask, as Mohammed has done, anybody in the audience got something to say? No? You're not going to, okay. All right,
May I add
then I will call for a motion to adjourn.
May I add something quickly?
Okay, Michelle,
I'd just like to make sure that this brochure that George,
I thought, are you making a motion to adjourn or you got
no,
something
no,
else?
I have something, may I?
All right, go
Yeah.
ahead.
About the brochure that he's talking about, the material that was presented at the meeting up at the library. I'd like to get that on our website and actually have handouts for people to see. It is so informative, and I think there'll be a better understanding of what your money is going through on the taxes that you pay.
Yeah, true.
Thank you for letting me
Okay, now, motion to adjourn.
make that motion.
Okay, second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.